here in Athens, Greece, the cradle of democracy. It's here in the 5th century BC where democracy was born, and I'm standing here on the Acropolis, which in Greek means the highest point. So there's many acropolises around Greece that may have temples and whatnot perched on top, but this is the Acropolis. And of course the pièce de résistance is the Parthenon, characterized by its perfect proportions, its fluted columns with its Doric capitals. Certainly is a wonderful building, a former temple dedicated to the goddess Athena, and I can't wait to rip into the other buildings that are on top of the Acropolis here. We came at 11 o'clock, so it may look sunny, but I'm all wrapped up and it was bucketing down. We came in and we had to pretty much run back to the hotel, to be fair. Yeah, it was bad. So we came back and I got on my hands and knees, we grovelled, and we were allowed back in for free. 30 euros a pop. I definitely wasn't going to go buying another ticket. Actually, I probably would have, to be honest. I can't miss this. So yeah, let's get it. So of course the Parthenon, built in the 5th century BC, is such an amazing, beautiful building, and I can't imagine what it would have looked like when it was actually standing and complete and actually used as a temple. But some of its characteristics still survive. Of course, you've got the pediment here and those small statues called metopes. There would have been 92, I believe, in all, situated in the Parthenon. And then of course you've got the frieze that wraps around the length of the Parthenon all the way around, and there is a natural slope to the Parthenon, and that I'll show in a small video next. Hopefully it picks up, but they're unsure why there is that natural or that built-in slope. Of course, given this was built 2,500 years ago, there's not many written records as to its construction techniques, you know, so it's really a guessing game in that respect. So that was the Greek military. Apparently every day they come up at sunset to take the Greek flag down, which is a cool little tradition. You may be wondering, you know, how were Athens able to build all of these grandiose monuments and temples and buildings? It would have cost a hell of a lot of money, and it did. Athens led the Delian alliance, and it was a military alliance for a lot of city-states against the Persians. The Persians were the number one enemies back in ancient Greece, and of course those city-states, for protection, sent a lot of money to Athens, or to the Delian alliance. And under Pericles, the Delian alliance and the treasury was moved to Athens, and so of course all that money was sent to the treasury in Athens, and then all those massive buildings were built in Athens, much to the disdain of those city-states. But of course, that's back then, and now it gives us sights like this, and I'm not at all mad about it. Well, it's day 2 of full exploration here in Athens, and most of this morning was made up of going to the New Zealand consulate a little while out of Athens to find out if we're going to have any problems leaving Greece. We've used our Schengen allowance, and we moved into Greece knowing that there was a bilateral agreement allowing up to a further 90 days in Greece. And the lovely lady there gave us the news that, yeah, we will have problems most likely. So the agreement was rescinded, or the Schengen rules overrule the agreement as of October this year. And we came in just at the end of October. So technically we are criminals. We have broken the law and we are overstayers. How fun. She gave us assurances that if we do have any problems, to give her a call. We've got her card, and she'll explain to the border security. I don't think we'll have any problems. I think we'll be able to leave for Istanbul rather easily, but there is still a case to be made that we have broken the law, and they won't take kindly on that. So we'll see. For now, for the rest of the evening, we'll look up some more interesting places that are free. There are a lot of places here in Athens that are really interesting but very expensive, and money is tight. So for now, I'll appreciate that view a little bit longer and have a wander around. So I'm sure at one point in your life you would have heard of Socrates, whether you're interested in classics, history or not. I'm sure you would have heard of Socrates, and he was around in the 5th century BC, and he was more or less the founder of Western philosophy, and he was sentenced to death by the Greeks for impiety, and there was failing to acknowledge the gods and introducing new deities, and for teaching political and philosophical lessons to his students that the Greek higher-ups, I guess, deemed improper. So he was sentenced to death by way of poisoning, drinking hemlock, and we're just about to go and view the prison in which he was held. Now, many believe that this is not where he was held prisoner, but it's a nice little story. They were used as prisons, but the fact that Socrates was held there, there's a lot of conjecture about that. But let's just say he was a fun little place to visit. well, I might be a hard-nosed criminal. You know, I didn't choose this life, it chose me. Quite literally, they really shouldn't have let us in, to be honest, but look, I'll do it all again 100 times over just to see this view. Goodbye and good night. Istanbul tomorrow.